Hey folks, it's been quite a bit of time since my last long form video. I believe that was posted back in August or September, somewhere in that time frame, if not even a little bit earlier. So what's been going on? I know you all are probably on the edge of your seat, just clamoring to figure out what's been happening. Well, in this video, let's discuss what's been going on. I'm Jay. This is Jay's Cryptic Creatures. Come on, let's figure out what's been happening together. I figured for this part of the discussion, we'll hang out with Medusa, one of my breeding male boas. Um, so without, prolonging, or the cliffhanger, if you will. So what's been going on is just life, really. I mean, most of you are probably aware that, breeding boas is not my full-time job. Um, I actually, my full-time job, daytime job is I work at a startup. Um, this is my third goal of a startup business, um, which is awesome. We're doing really, really well, but that takes up a lot of time, just like any business would. Additionally, you know, Jay's Cryptic Creatures. So it's the selling and breeding of boas, um, and then probably third on that list is kind of the filming for YouTube. It's pretty intensive and takes a lot of time, and you know, it just wasn't a priority. Couple that with probably the most important thing is I'm a uh, full-time dad, with two small kids. So that takes a lot of time and making sure we spend the time as a family. So from the family standpoint, it's been actually a pretty crazy year. I guess it's always crazy with family and children. My youngest daughter started third grade, which is pretty cool. In our school system, they do the four schools. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that or not. Anyway, the third grade meant moving to a new school, which was a big deal for her. And then my son um, became a freshman in high school, which is also crazy impressive. It's shocking. I can't, how time has just flown by is quite remarkable. And at the filming of this video, he's actually getting ready to start indoor track, which is pretty awesome as well. And then my wife has been the rock as she always is, between me doing all of these things and the children and at the house and doing her own gig as kind of a consultant slash social media person for an environmental justice organization, which is pretty awesome. But we have certainly been busy in the duration since that last video was posted. But I can say is, all is well. So as for something reptile related, back in August, I was asked by my local small business association if I wanted to put on a talk or presentation, something along the lines concerning reptiles. So I mean, I took the opportunity. I jumped at it. So what we did was at the local library. It was slotted for 2 hours. We had about 20-ish or so children, parents, and just adults come through, and we spent an hour talking just general snake myths, facts, what native snakes are there in Massachusetts and New England. Then we had a little bit of lunch, and then the second half we talked kind of more discreetly about boa constrictors as pets and what the care and what that's like. And then after that, I brought in some boas ranging from kind of newborn babies that were about 3 months old, some yearlings, some subadults, some adults, and then I actually brought in Dagon too, my big Burmese python, for some handling, and it was such an awesome event. The kids were fantastic. The adults and parents did a great job. There was many people, both young and old, that have never held a snake before. Lots of really great questions. It felt good chatting with the young kids, just about snakes and reptiles in general, and trying to see if we can kind of strike that fuse for the next generation. It was a great time. I think we're going to do something like that again. There was talks about going to maybe the Boys and Girls Club and doing something a little bit more elevated, maybe genetics, something along those lines. But we'll see how things play out. That was a great opportunity. I loved it. Would be happy to do that again, and hopefully that will be the case in the future. So as September turned into October, um, as many of you may know, I love all things horror movie, kind of heavy metal, and Halloween in general. I used to do pretty elaborate displays when my oldest son was young. Really like to kind of get into that Halloween spirit, kind of full on scare versus friendly Halloween. Unfortunately, where we live, we typically don't get many trick or treaters, and by not many, I mean sometimes it's less than five. Um, so over the years, doing that big elaborate display, despite the fact that people that did come said how awesome it was or how much they enjoyed it, it kind of took a lot out of me. To be frank, putting in a lot of work just for me to sit at home, essentially by myself while my wife and son went out trick or treating. So it was kind of twofold. I didn't get a lot of visitors to appreciate kind of the work that I put in, and then I was kind of missing out on my eldest son and his trick or treating. So when my daughter started to get of age for trick or treating, I decided to curb the displays and focus more on going out with her and my wife and my son and kind of soaking up that time before it vanished. So I found out that my tattoo artist out of Philly and friend Juan Garcia had a secondary business called Condemned Creatures, where he makes masks. And these things are crazy impressive. Um, he's a super talented artist to begin with, but then these masks are something really awesome to take a look at. Anyway, whether it was his Instagram or website, I forget what it was, but there was one mask that was really impressive. So I reached out to him just to, kind of give him a pat on the back or a shout out. Um, and he ended up uh cutting me a pretty good deal on the mask that I couldn't turn down. So I purchased that mask, and that kind of acted as my inspiration to kind of do the Halloween display again. It was kind of reinvigorating for me. So I took that burst of creativity and really spent some time constructing an elaborate display this year. As you're going to see, you know, again, it's more on the scary fright side of things. It's nothing too wild. I mean, it's just me doing weird things. Uh, but I was really, really happy for how everything looked and presented. Unfortunately, like in past years, we had some things going against us. It was really cold up here in Massachusetts, and we had wind gusts of like 40 miles an hour. So I couldn't light candles. There's some things I wanted to do that just didn't translate because of the weather. And then also because of that weather, ultimately we had 3 trick-or-treaters to come by the house. So, again, it was a little depressing, but, what can you do? Anyway, that absorbed a lot of my time. Again, the mask was incredible. It's funny, usually you put away Halloween decorations, but the mask itself is so cool. I actually have it, mounted as a wall display in my office now. I'm not putting that away. Like I briefly mentioned in the beginning of the video, the Jay's Cryptic Creatures kind of boa breeding side of things is doing really well. Um, this guy here is, well, one, it's actually a female, but is at the time of this video still available for purchase on Morph Market. It's an albino Molly. Um, one of the picks of one of the litters this year. Um, but yeah, we've been posting, and I've been trying to keep Morph Market um, as up to date as I possibly can. And honestly, I've done, I think, a pretty good job. I've done better this year than I have in years past. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that. It's the like I said in some of my other videos, it's those other unforeseen things of snake breeding. Not just caring for the animals, but if you're going to sell them, getting pictures, keeping good records, these type of things that, if it slips, then um, you're not going to be able to move your animal. Um, so Morph Market's been good. I've sold several animals through there. Shout out to Jake and Jeremy, two great guys that have purchased some snakes from me, and they're in the discussions and exchanges back and forth, keeping in close touch. They're doing great. The setups they have and the snakes are thriving, so they seem super stoked. I'm super stoked that they got the snakes that they wanted. Um, and aside from Morph Market, I've been spending some time at local expos. So the first one that we vended at was the New England Reptile Expo up in Manchester, New Hampshire. Um, it's a expo that I frequent usually to get supplies and things of that nature. But we vended there, met some really cool people, got sold a couple snakes there. Um, had a really good time. It's fun because there's my son comes to help me, so it gives us time to kind of joke around and just be together in an environment where kind of electronics aren't front of mind, and we can just talk and vibe. But like I said, really cool people. Good time at the event. I'll be back there in, I believe it's February 1st. So if anybody wants to swing by and say hello or buy a snake, I'll be up there for that. So this guy is also still available on Morph Market. It's one of my Aztecs from a litter this year as well. Camera does no justice at all. The reds, like everybody who sees this snake in person is just blown away. The kind of red burnt orange underneath is crazy. Got it from he got it from his mama. Anyway, so the next expo we went to was the Massachusetts Reptile Expo down in Hanover, Massachusetts. And it's put on, or at least sponsored by, the New England Herpetoculture Society. Uh, awesome show as well. A little bit further of a drive for me, but not that that matters. But what I wanted to say is, again, met some really cool people there. Some folks that we've only kind of talked online, got to meet in person, and sold a couple snakes there. Really good time. Again, my son joined, had a blast. I wanted to give a shout out to a young lady named, we'll say Charlotte. So she reached out on Morph Market and put a deposit down for a snake. And then when, and she was going to pick it up at the show. So, um, leading up to the show, we were exchanging some text messages. She was getting an enclosure set up, things of that nature. And I started to get a sense that this may be her first boa or so, or something like that. In any event, so we meet up at the show, or she swings by the table with her mom. And again, we get to talking some more, and it turns out that this is her first boa. But what I was really stoked about is the amount of effort she put in to doing research up front, communicating with me. The only thing I told her was because she was picking up hides and some other things, and I was like, "Well, if you would have told me that ahead of time that this was kind of your first bow, because how passionate she came across, I probably would have hooked her up with a whole bunch of stuff so she didn't have to buy it. But she did great, and I would think, you know, in other videos you hear me preach about doing your research and then understanding and then getting in touch with the breeder, being comfortable with what you're purchasing because this isn't a live animal. She did everything correctly. And if there's more Charlottes in the world and upcoming in this hobby, we're all going to be much better for it. So, shout out to you. I hope your snake is still doing awesome and you guys are continuing to grow and bond together. As for the show, like I said, awesome show. If you're in the kind of southern New England region, like Rhode Island, maybe upstate Connecticut, swing by for the next one. It's worth the trip. It's a lot of good vendors, a lot of good people, good local show. So as for my other cryptic creatures, everybody's doing fine. Again, at the time of filming here, we're in early December. Chubbs, my Argentine black and white Tegu, is currently in brumation, which stinks. I mean, that's what he does naturally, but um, like we shared in other videos, my typical morning is coming down. He's usually out basking. We share a cup of coffee. I tell him about what I have planned for today. He doesn't judge me. We get some pets and things of that nature, and then I start my day. So it kind of stinks not seeing him. He'll probably reemerge somewhere in, I don't know, April, March, somewhere in that ballpark. But he's doing fine. The tarantulas are doing great. Um, what I'm currently doing now, I'm not necessarily downsizing, but as mature males emerge, what I'm doing them is passing them off to breeders like I normally do. Except I'm not backfilling. Previously, what I would do is I would turn the males over to breeders and either get slings or another tarantula just to kind of fill the space. But as the boa breeding is continuing to grow and take off, I need more space for either racks or grow outs or things of that nature. So, like I said, if I get a mature male, I'm getting that off to a breeder, not backfilling the spot. If it's a mature female, I'm keeping the females. And because I still really do enjoy the tarantulas, it's just a matter of making sure that I have time allocated appropriately to all the hobbies and making sure that the animals get the appropriate levels of care. So as we close out here, I figured I'll grab Izzy Moonglow, the Moonglow boa, to help me close out. She's a couple years old, probably a year, maybe two away from getting into the breeding rotation. But I guess to circle back and answer the question, or re-answer the question where I've been, the reality is it's just life, right? You need to allocate time appropriately to the things that matter. And for me, it's family, it's animals, it's job, and then second job. And then really the YouTube videos were just, further down on priority list. And I was giving my attention to those other things that I kind of really liked to do. So, in short, not going anywhere. I'll try to get back into a good schedule with the videos. Can't promise anything. Upcoming videos I do have slated kind of more along the lines of what I got for breeding projects, kind of how I have plans looking out, 3 to 5 years, what those breeding plans look like, and things of that nature. Yeah, so more videos are going to come. Not going anywhere. Jay's Cryptic Creatures is still here, both as a YouTube page and as a business. So, really, until next time, like, subscribe, and then we can continue to learn about boas, tarantulas, tegus, and all of these other cryptic creatures together. Until next time.